Hey everybody, it's Julianne Jones, and this is the answer portion of the video Q&A Monday that I do every week over on the fan page. Just back from vacation last week and glad to be here, and I have a couple questions to answer for you today. The first question comes from Carla Delio Jones, and she asks, what is your formula for follow-up with potential leads, frequency, etc.? I don't want to sit and wait, but I also don't want to be a pain. Great question, Carla, and I actually have a formula for this. So my philosophy is you follow up until they tell you to stop, because at that point it's stalking, and there's laws in this country about that. So if they say don't call me anymore, you need to stop calling. And it also kind of depends on the type of lead. So if you're talking about a lead where they signed up at a vendor fair and you kind of got their name, but you didn't really have a personal connection with them, you didn't say I'll follow up. That one you can probably follow up a few times, maybe put them on your email list and then let that go. But if it's someone who has said, I'm interested in your opportunity, I'd like to book a party, but now's not the best time, can you please call me back? Or you've said, hey, can I call you back around this? And they've said yes. You have a commitment to that person. And as a businesswoman, it's an integrity piece for you to actually make sure that you do that follow-up work that you've promised to do. And so when you're calling them back for the 5th or 6th or 15th time, if you haven't spoken to them, all you're doing is keeping your commitment and your word to them. And personally, I think that's a really important, piece of the whole puzzle. So basically what I do is I call the first time, and if at any point during this formula you reach that person, then it's perfectly fine to whatever they say, yes, no, call me back, and then you kind of go back in the process. But most of the time you're probably going to be leaving voicemail, because that's kind of how things work. So the first week I call, I just leave a simple voicemail. Hey, we connected here. Just remind them how you know them, why they asked you to call. I'm just calling back like I said I would. Give me a call. Here's my number. Easy. Second week, pretty much the same message. I usually say something if I haven't heard back from them, like, I'm sure you're busy like I am. You want to kind of let them off the hook, and you never want them to feel like you're how come you haven't called me back, having this attitude. It's really let them off the hook. I'm sure you're busy. I'm just following up again. Love to visit with you. Here's my info. The third week, I leave a different message. So I start out the same. Hey, I'm calling back. It's been a couple weeks. We haven't been able to connect. I'd still really love to chat with you. And then I tell them my follow-up philosophy is to continue following up until we either connect or you tell me that to continue following up until we connect. And then I say, if you'd rather I take you off my list, you don't want to, you've changed your mind, no problem. I don't want to bug you. Just call me at this number or email me at this address, and I will remove you from my follow-up list. Otherwise, here's my number. Give me a call back, and hopefully we'll be chatting soon. So now they know the rules, and you've told them very clearly, this is how I work. If you ask me to follow up and we haven't spoken, I'm going to keep calling until we talk. And if you don't want to be on my list, here's the information. I'll take you off my list. No problem. I don't want to be bugging you. And then about once a month after that, you keep following up for as long as it takes. And you know what? I had a client who followed up with someone for 9 years. Maybe not every month, but pretty much 9 years until the lady was finally ready to say yes. So hopefully that helps. You want to make sure you're keeping track of that follow-up as well, so you got to have a good system for that. Second question is from Cheryl Pizzale. I love this question, by the way. She says, I'm currently a consultant for 2 different direct sales companies, and I'd love to know your opinion on splitting my time between the 2. Some people have told me this won't work, including both my team leaders. And sometimes I agree with them, but I also see others making it work well. I love both products and companies, and I just can't seem to make the choice to be part of one or the other. Or I keep changing my mind. Please tell me your thoughts and any suggestions on how to choose one company if I eventually decide to do that. Thank you. Cheryl, I get this question often, and I have a really strong opinion about this. I will warn you up front, it's just my opinion. It isn't, you asked for my opinion, so I'm going to give it to you, and I may or may not be correct. But what I've seen in my almost 15 years of coaching and working in the direct sales industry is you can't ride 2 horses with one butt, not efficiently and effectively. Even if you're a trick rider, it's hard to do. So what that means is if you're working with both companies, you're pretty much splitting your time, maybe not evenly, but in some way, shape, or form, you're splitting your time. So what you're going to end up with is whatever you give, anything in your life that you give some of your attention to, but not 100% of your attention to, ends up being, usually pretty mediocre. If you want something to be stellar and amazing, you pretty much give it your all, so to speak. You give it all your attention. So, if you're looking at both companies, and you're giving some of your attention to each, you're going to end up with pretty mediocre businesses in each. If you really want to build a strong business, it's a passion for you to have a strong direct sales business, I think you have to dedicate 100% of your time and energy that you have allotted to whichever one company you feel the most passionate about. So a lot of it has to do with what you want. So if you want to build a strong company, you see this as a career choice, you really want great income, I think you have to pick one. And the way you do that is you ask yourself, which one are you most passionate about? Maybe you love them both and you can still continue to be a consumer, and maybe even offer just, to anybody who asks the opportunity to buy the other products, but you're really building a business on one side only. And that's whichever company you're the most passionate about. And you might have to make a list, pros and cons, whatever, to decide. So if that's your goal, then I think you have to pick one company and give it your all. If you really are kind of a hobbyist and you're okay with, sort of splitting your time and you don't mind having two kind of mediocre businesses, then keep doing what you're doing, and that's perfectly fine. A lot of it depends on your goals. So I hope that helps. Final question is from Edna Smith, and she's actually a member of my Direct Sales Virtual Academy. She asks, is it better to balance a part-time job or give it up and go full force in building your direct sales business? I took on a part-time job this past year, and I feel that it may be hindering me more than helping. I work from home, which can be a drawback as my time out in the community is limited. What are your thoughts about this situation? I did answer her via email, but I'm going to actually add to that answer here because I thought it would be great to answer everybody because this question comes up quite often too. So first of all, it does depend on your risk tolerance as a person. Some people have a higher risk tolerance. So, for me, I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. I did it as a single mom, and there's a lot of question marks when you're self-employed. There's a lot of risk. There's a lot of, gosh, am I going to be able to pay my bills this month? And for me, I thrive on that because it brings out the drive and commitment in me for that business. So it works really well for me. For some people who have a much lower risk tolerance, it wouldn't work as well. And the stress and anxiety that would induce would have a negative impact on you. So you have to kind of assess what your personality is like and make that decision. And, it might be right for you to just say, hey, I'm going for it, quit your job, like a lot of people do. But you have to make that decision. And then the other thing I'd recommend, if you do decide that you want to make this switch, but you're not positive you want to just, hope it works and quit your job. What I tell my clients whenever this comes up is the idea is to take like maybe the next 3 to 6 months, stay in your job, whether it's part-time or full-time, and then any money that you make as profit in your direct sales business goes directly into a savings account, no matter what. You don't spend it on anything, except supplies for your business, which that's not really profit. I'm talking about this is a profit that I make off the top that I can do anything I want with after I pay my taxes and, buy whatever I need to buy to run my business. That goes in savings and you don't touch it. It's like in the vault. You put it in savings and you leave it there. When you get to the point where the money that you're putting in savings that you're making with your direct sales business is close to or at the level of the money that you're making at your job, now you have the ability to pretty much replace that income every month, and it's safe for you to go ahead and quit that job. Now, this does a couple things. Number one, it tells you when you really, have built a business that'll support you. But also, as you're doing that, you're building this beautiful safety net of a savings account that could be, 3 to 6 months worth of whatever you need as far as income, which you should pretty much have in place anyway. And so you've got that savings account as a buffer in case you have a month where you don't quite make it and you need to dip into that. So hopefully that helps. If you have a question, next Monday we do video Q&A Monday every week. You can post your question on Monday and then I'll get to it the video will be posted either Monday afternoon or Tuesday. So this week, for instance, I didn't get any questions until about 6 o'clock my time last night. And so I'm answering it on Tuesday morning. But either way, post your question and then you just come back. I'll do my best to tag you when I post the video and you can listen to the answer, and that's how it works. Hope you're having a fabulous week, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.